Ooh, that was our best one yet.
Corey Piper Joe here with you on this rainy Sunday.
It is a rainy Sunday.
And, yeah, but I was
thick.
talking to my wife last night, like, is this the driest spring that I can remember?
Probably.
It's been bad.
It's still spring, technically, right?
I know, but it's been it's April showers bring May flowers, and I just don't remember it raining in April.
I think we had a lot of rain in May. We had a pretty decent amount.
Yeah, I don't think so.
We had like a couple days like in a row.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been few and far between.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to look at the stats, but I feel like it's been a very, very dry spring.
I don't know how many rebounds this season's got.
Yeah. So we're going to, didn't really know what we were going to talk about. Corey had mentioned continuing to work out while you're injured.
Yeah.
I pulled up Very Not Random podcast to see what there's any other ideas, and the first fully listened episode I had was burnout on CrossFit and training with an injury. What do I do? So
I pulled that up and I was like, oh, this would be a great topic to talk about, and then I completely forgot about it and didn't listen to it. So
yeah,
this is
you pulled up the podcast to get your idea
that
as
was
well.
where I got the idea.
Oh, okay. So I like the next episode after that one, learning new skills in CrossFit class. Is it possible? But I think this one's good.
I think they have carryover.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to talk about.
And I started the episode. I don't know where I was at, but I was not paying that much attention. So I don't remember most of what they said. But, so first, okay, what are we defining as an injury? Your doctor has told you can come back.
Yeah.
Or you didn't need to go to a doctor.
Yep.
If you're having surgery or something like that and your doctor says don't do exercise, don't do exercise.
Listen to your doctor.
Would I most likely disagree with their timeline and their limits? Like what they're going to put on women, like after pregnancy, don't lift over 10 pounds. Balderdash.
Yeah. And I think part of that issue is they're used to seeing like sedentary.
I think that, and they've also got, and let's just be honest, they have an incentive for you to not be healthy.
Yeah.
Their entire business model
is
requires you to not be healthy. It's sick care, not health care.
Right.
And I know the people that went into it. We have several doctors. I know you went to help people, but your model isn't aligned with true optimization either. So you get to be overly cautious.
Yeah.
With them going back because it doesn't harm your model. It was, it's the best advice in your very, very narrow framework.
Right. And I'm hoping, like, kind of seeing where all this has gone and how fast, like, fitness has become a regular, normal thing. I'm hoping we can kind of get
studies.
Get some studies out there. And then, like, our people that are going into healthcare, like, now you can be a little bit more preventative on the front end of all that stuff.
And we're making doctors healthy, and healthy doctors
see
healthy patients.
Yeah, they see how important all this is.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. That's one of the cooler things I think CrossFit did was launch the MDL one.
Yeah,
and get these people on the front lines. I want a healthy nurse. I want a healthy doctor.
Oh man,
we have so many nurses.
I'll never forget.
I mean, I even like before I opened the gym, I was like, I've got to get in way better shape if I'm going to give advice. And I to the bigger people out there, I get it. It's not true.
Right.
It's my personal feeling.
Yeah.
I want to take advice from somebody that looks better than me.
I went to the doctor years ago when I was on like medication for ADHD, and he was giving me a hard time. I don't remember. Oh, I think I like went out and partied the night before, and I probably came in smelling like alcohol. And he was giving me a hard time, and I was like, "Dude, you're like 150 pounds." He was like this tall, but like this big around. Like I'm like, "Dude, you can't."
Yeah.
You can't sit here and tell me how I'm living this bad life when like you're not really setting a good example for me.
Exactly. So injuries. If you're under the care of a doctor, listen to your doctor. Okay. If you're working around it or you've gotten the clear to come back in, how should we go about your training? What do you think?
I've told people this before. So I've trained with some injuries. I've trained through some injuries.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are chronic train throughers.
Yeah, I'll say we've always got some kind of ache and pain. And again, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about before we even get super deep into the like training with an injury is it an injury? That was the kind of first thing I wanted to cover when we talked about this, because I'm 34, not a super old dude yet. Some would argue that I act way younger, which I think keeps me a little bit younger.
Yeah.
I have aches and pains. That comes with the territory. We work out hard. What we do is not easy. There's going to be some aches and pains.
Yeah.
So it's kind of deciding, okay, is this just me being sore from a workout and getting into my mid 30s, or is this like a legitimate, okay, this is probably going to be an injury or becoming an injury?
Adding on to that, two things. We train more than an hour a day.
Yeah.
Do I think constant aches and pains should be your norm if you're only training an hour a day? Absolutely not.
Probably not.
You should feel pretty good most every day. Again, if it's your first week, it's going to suck. If it's your first month, it's probably going to suck.
Yeah. And there are going to be random workouts here and there that are going to...
Yeah, or you finally push your threshold, you reestablish a new plateau, or driving yourself to that. But on a day in, day out basis, if you're excessively sore, nutrition, hydration, sleep, fix it, because an hour a day shouldn't put you in that locker. Right. Second, and I love that you said this, is it really an injury? Let's take our sprint day, for example, on Tuesday. In the notes, 4 people popped their hamstring.
Right.
All 4 people were back in this week.
So I've been there. Like I was telling one guy, like I've done sprints before, and I felt exactly what they're talking. I always get it on the front end, and when it happens, you're like, oh no.
Yes.
But then within 12 hours, 24 hours, you're like, okay, this still doesn't feel great, but I think I'm okay.
It probably just wasn't warmed up maybe enough.
Yeah.
And with the time that we had in class to do that in a max deadlift, it was going to be hard.
But I did a jerk dip on Friday, and my knee just went crazy. I'm pretty sure it's because I have an internal hip rotation issue. It's exactly where the pain was at, or manifested itself down in my knee. And I know it doesn't make sense to say it's a hip issue, but it comes to my knee, but trust me, it does. I'm not going to go into all that. And I shut it down for the day. Took some NSAIDs, ran some Kineon on it. It's feeling better. But I wouldn't define that as an injury. That was just like a freak thing. The number of torn quads or meniscus tears I've heard somebody has in this gym, and then they're back the next week. It's like, look at the actual the athletes on the field. Yeah. When one of those things happen,
they go down.
They are taken off by a cart.
Yeah,
these huge, monstrous athletes are bawling, and you think you just got up and walked off and tore your meniscus?
Yeah. Drive home.
Nah, dog.
Yeah. And I've usually my first couple questions when someone's like, oh no,
if you don't change color.
Right, and that's my go-to, because I've had some like some of the times I've rolled my ankle, it's not like, oh, that hurts, I'm gonna shut it down and walk it off. It's like I was sick, I thought I was gonna throw up. I got cold, you could tell pretty quick, oh shoot, that's probably pretty bad.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying what people are feeling doesn't feel like an injury immediately, because like I said, I've done some sprints and pulled some things and been like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
But you just got to give it a little bit of time.
So I think we spent too much time talking about what an injury is and isn't. How to train around it, right? And I'll take Mason as an example. Mason had an actual real injury, had surgery.
Pec tear.
Pec tear.
Was it full tear? You remember?
I don't remember. Trying to complete bar muscle up. I think he missed a couple of days for inflammation. I think he missed a couple of days after the surgery. Yeah. And otherwise he was here every single day.
Every day.
Biking,
squatting, dude, and I'm sure, props to him. I'm sure that got a little bit monotonous.
Ridiculously boring.
Yeah, it's going to be the same things. And when we have an injury, we'll say an upper body injury, we're going to have to, for the most part, like we need to avoid it.
Yep.
Maybe we do single arm.
Yep.
If you got single arm, we can always
that
mix a little bit up.
That was always funny. I remember when he got back to working
yeah,
out with his one side, he was like, "This is terrible." Because he had a big bicep over here and that was tiny.
And like if you're worried about that stuff, will correct itself real quickly. But if you're worried about that, like we could go strict lower body, but we can use that as an opportunity to maybe work on some weaknesses, build some strength. I know when I rolled my ankle. I like leg day. I like deadlifts, squats, lunges. If you don't know, now you know. So I forced myself to work on a lot of strict gymnastics work, a lot of legless rope climbs, a lot of strict muscle ups, a lot of strict pull-ups. And after my injury, I came back a little bit stronger because I had kind of worked those weaknesses that I had been avoiding because I could.
Yeah. And I think you don't have to know what you need to do or what to work around in the gym. That's why you have us.
Yes, that's literally our job.
What is the most important thing is your mindset. Your injury, and I've been on both sides of this, can shut you down or it can give you an opportunity. And it's up to you and how you approach it, and we can be downtrodden and woe is me, or we can get back to work.
Yep.
And realize that it's just a hiccup. Not to quote stoicism too much, but the obstacle becomes the way. The impediment to action advances action. All those types of things. So, like, you're not in a full body cast.
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna stop eating too? Are you gonna start going to the bathroom?
It doesn't. And it's not as big of a deal as a lot of people make it out. They think, oh no, like I had surgery on my knee. I won't be able to lift.
Never gonna be an athlete again.
I'll never be an athlete again. Or like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna come back and my squat's gonna be completely gone. And really the cool part about your body is like, if you're working out your upper body, your lower body still stays relatively strong.
Well, I mean, hormones are global.
Right. It's not like
I don't have
arms,
testosterone.
Right. It's not like your arms are like, this is just our gains. Like it's full body, man. Like, and I've told people like working out your upper body helps preserve muscle mass on your lower body. Like there's studies that show that. There's science that shows that.
It's like post shoulder rehab. When I went through it, I was the fastest I'd ever been when I swam. Because I did a lot of stuff that I did not like.
I know.
That I absolutely hated. And hated kicking. Had to do it for 3 months.
So much kick. But
then, my God, terrible.
So and one of the things I noticed, and I don't know if it's like it for you, but when I spent time to work on like my strict pull-ups, we'll say, I used to hate strict pull-ups. Still not great at them. But I got to the point where I kind of liked them because I got better at them.
It becomes tolerable.
It becomes tolerable because you get better.
Yep.
So
being good at something makes everything a little bit
more fun.
Easier to stomach.
Yeah. And forcing yourself to do the things that you've been avoiding due to injury, like.
Well, it's like cardio is going to come fast. It's going to leave fast. Strength takes forever to build. Takes forever to leave.
Yep.
Which is why it's so crucial that you get started now. You want to stay out of the nursing home, you want to stay active with your kids or whatever else, build muscle now.
Yep. Oh, and I've seen...
You cannot be too strong.
No.
It's never happened.
It's like being too, like no one's ever been like, it's too fast. He needs to slow it down.
He's way too good looking.
Piper swims too fast. Has your coach ever been like, oh, you're too fast, we need to dial it back?
No, that said, I have seen somebody move too fast in here and they haven't hit movement standards.
Oh yeah.
Right? And so, but that's also the point. We're trying to get you to move too fast, so there's something to correct. We're trying to get you to add more weight on the bar, so there's something to correct. I can move a PVC really perfectly.
Yeah.
You
add 150 pounds to it.
All right, let's get crazy.
Yeah.
It makes it a little bit harder.
So like, hey, athletes, next time you feel like your coach hasn't given you a tip, add a little bit of weight. Move a little bit faster.
Move faster.
I mean, safely, of course, but right, like, you may not honestly have a flaw. And if we told you time and time again, hey, push a little bit harder, add a little bit more weight, and you don't, I'll just be, and sure, this is a flaw as me as a coach. I haven't got elite enough of an eye, but I can't see you make a mistake on a 135. I can see you make a mistake on a 225,
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Oh, Jesus.
Um,
You booby trapping me with your stupid scratchy cup.
So yeah, with injuries, it's an opportunity. And as soon as you get cleared, you can be in here doing stabilization exercises. I've said this a lot. I don't know that I have a torn labrum. I'm pretty sure. It's been a year at this point. It's not really gone away. I can do most things. Some things flared up. What I worked on was stabilization. And what convinced me that I could be okay doesn't mean I don't have excessive soreness on a day that I use it a little bit more. Like I did ring muscle ups the other day, and my shoulder's not been right this week. And I'm like, okay. I came back to those too early after I started feeling better.
Yeah.
But there's a study from the Major League Baseball, and they're like, 70% of pitchers have a torn labrum.
Oh yeah.
But most of them have no pain present with it.
Yeah.
And because they've done enough stabilization drills, they have enough muscles otherwise that compensate for it, yada, 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 so on and so forth. So there's things that you can do through an injury to improve the injury, to make it at least less painful with the symptoms if it's something you can't fix for whatever. But if you're in here getting stronger, better generally, an injury is going to happen. It's just the more we increase our activity, the more likely it is that we get injured. I'd also argue the less activity you do, the more you're going to be decrepit and sick, which is, quite frankly, worse than an injury.
Yes.
But the more that you can be in here, you're building strength to compensate to where when one of those injuries happen, it's not game over. Mm-hmm. And I think the other thing is once you're injured, that time's going to pass anyway. Is it going to pass with you getting better, or at least maintaining, or is it going to pass with you getting worse?
That's the unfortunate part about what we do in here is there's maintenance, but there's not a ton of gray area when it comes to making decisions with any of it. It's either you're in here getting better / staying the same, or you're getting worse. Because if you don't do anything, you're going to get worse. You're going to get weaker. You're going to lose that. It's the same with nutrition. Whatever you put in your mouth is either going to make you better or make you worse.
All of my previous coaches have always said that showing up one day, it's take one step forward, and then it's brutal, but every day that you miss feels like 2 steps back, unless it's a scheduled rest day. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to somebody who was out for a week. They went on vacation. They're like, oh, this is really hard. I think it was Jessie. She was like, oh, this is brutal. These workouts wouldn't have broken me 2 weeks ago, and now they're ripping me to shreds. And I'm like, unfortunately, the decline is a lot faster than the incline. And that's not aided by surgery or injury that happens in here. It's so we want to try to even that line out as much as possible. Because you're going to miss some. It's just how it is.
You mentioned nutrition. I don't know if you saw the story, but Russell Okung, he was an NFL offensive lineman. He was 330, 40, 50 pounds. And he's down 100 pounds. And they were like, well, in 40 days. And they're like, how'd you do it? And he was like, I only drank water.
Damn.
For 40 days.
That's wild.
And we're not telling you to do this.
That's a little extreme.
But I sent you that video of that fitness guy.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Hey, the next time you're having a craving, lift up your shirt and just look at your fat ass.
You got enough.
You've got enough. You don't need a snack.
You don't need a snack.
You can go a very long time without eating. And then I saw that story, and I'm like, listen, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah, you would explode in here.
But you can.
Yeah.
Your body has enough energy, and we talked about this with the PhD study from Bill Campbell. You've got enough energy to do a lot without putting more fuel in it.
Yeah.
So
you can be a grumpy goose.
Yeah,
but
we can survive
you may be grumpy.
longer.
I'm not telling you your performance is going to be great. You're going to have to learn how to be in that next mode of not having the food. I'm just legitimately saying, for most people that have the body fat percentages that they have, you can go a long time without eating.
You go wild.
Again, fully not recommending that. I thought it was interesting.
It was pretty wild.
But and there's some brash things, but just talking on the nutrition, lift up your shirt, man. Like, you don't have visible ab lines. Like, you can go without that snack.
Yeah.
You're not that hungry.
And that's
like you're getting boredom signals.
Yeah. Do something.
And you're like, well, I'm bored, so I'm gonna eat. So I don't know why that beeped twice. That's weird.
That was weird. Oh, that's the rest. When you set it for a rest interval, it'll double beep.
It does?
Yeah.
I never noticed.
And a
that.
work interval
It's
is
normally
just
too loud in
one
here, I
beep.
guess.
Yeah.
So we're trying to keep these videos shorter. I think any wrap up thoughts?
Wrap up thoughts.
Be injured. Like, don't train over. No, you know what I mean. If you really,
Don't be injured.
No, I have no idea what you mean.
I'll say my shoulder tear manifested in my tricep. So I used to always think that I had a big tricep injury. But when I started PT for said tricep, I was like, it's not doing anything. It's just fatiguing my right arm. And I went back to a different doctor, and they said it was a shoulder tear. When that happens, just like, it happened. That's how your life is now. You have to recognize that is your injury. If you want it to get better, you have to rest it to a certain degree. Otherwise, it will stay the same. And so if you're injured, be injured. But that doesn't mean you have to be unproductive with your health and fitness. It's important to still do things. I still went to practice. My dad was still paying for me to be on club swimming. So he's like, your ass is going to be in the pool.
Going.
So...
I mean, we're professionals. We can get you doing something.
Help you.
I say we.
Even
you
if
might
it,
not. What?
Yeah.
No,
I say even if it's monotonous kicking work, which is literally all that I did for 2 months, it's gonna help you. It's gonna give you an engine at the end of the day. We're gonna back squat heavy.
Yeah, This is gonna sound.
Corey's gonna take great pleasure in making whatever half is available.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, there's not a single person in this gym, including myself, that couldn't benefit from maybe focusing in on a specific area that they need to improve.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're watching this and you're like, oh man, I don't want to do any of that. It's like, man, you just need to be in here doing it. Do something.
Say if you don't want to do it, it's probably more
of a reason.
It's probably all the evidence you need that you need to be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I say I don't want to. If there's anyone watching this that's like doesn't do CrossFit and they're like, man, these guys are just talking about being injured all the time. They're all injured. I promise, the little tweaks and injuries I feel and the aches and pains I have are 1,000 times better than not doing anything.
Yeah. And I saw Peter, I think, posted a statistic that CrossFit has like the same injury rate as like club sports.
Oh yeah, this
and
is
all
low.
of these things.
Oh, we have one of the lowest injury
I'll
rates.
say like
I've hurt myself
respectively
more
compared to other things. It's pretty low.
Biking, like riding my bike, than I have in here.
And
so we're not saying you're going to be injured.
And we're not even saying the injury occurred in CrossFit. Let's be very clear. We're just saying you got injured.
Oh, dude.
Now we can only speak from the things that we see in here. I don't know what you're doing outside, but people get injured doing other things all the time.
Most of the time, the injury happens out of here because when you're in here, you're at least mindful of the way you're moving.
And you're being monitored.
Yeah, because you have us here yelling at you. Something to do with getting strong and beefy?
Those are all the thoughts that I have.
I don't remember what it was going to be. It wasn't very important then, clearly.
Even if you can't do the workout on the board, come in. Mm-hmm. We'll figure something out for you to do.
It will be completely different, but you'll still get a workout in.
Yep.
And if you do find yourself in that situation, the time to ask us for modifications is not 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, you need to holler at us.
It's a message.
Yeah.
Earlier in the day,
or you
maybe in the week.
The earlier, the better.
Yeah, the earlier, the better.
Yeah, and hey, if you want to be like, we want you to reserve all the time, but if you're injured and we know that we're going to have to modify for you, reserve.
Absolutely reserve.
So that coach can have a lead time that they're coming in. We already know Blinky Magoo has, a bad knee.
Yeah, I always knew Blinky Magoo.
And we've got double unders and we got this and that day. Like, okay, we see that person reserved. Our juices are flowing. We're getting some ideas for you. And, we're gonna pitch them and modify them and help you still have fun, because it's also still important to have fun with your training. And monotony can be boring and break you down. So, we're gonna continually work and try to get that better. And the other thing, I remember what I was gonna say on the injuries is like, I would say Corey and I specifically are talking more about how we've been injured. Again, we are not the typical CrossFitter. We are doing this more competitively, higher volume. So again, we're taking something that like where you're saying you do an hour a day, we're doing it
4.
Yeah,
3-4 hours a day. So our injury rate's going to be 3 or 4 times higher than yours. And even still, we're talking very, very minor stuff.
And honestly,
in comparison to everything else that we've done.
Both of us tend to make, we'll say, less great decisions.
Yeah, we're not the best
with
at
our
warming up. We try silly stuff to see if it's possible. And we're our own worst enemies, and that's fine.
We recognize it.
Yeah. So, I think that's enough for the day.
Yeah.
Trying to keep these videos a little bit shorter. Hopefully, a little more watching will occur.
Yeah, like and subscribe, dang it. If you don't, send this to people.
Yeah.
If they go to this gym, text it to them until they subscribe to this channel.
170 members, 35 subscribers.
Yeah, I want 50 by next time.
If
So
you watch
send this
it,
to people.
put in your notes.
Yeah, put it in your notes that we said something. What did we say? What's the special word?
I don't know.
Aardvarks.
Again?
Yeah.
No.
O-Bill.
O-Bill.
Oh, Bill.
Put O-Bill. All my letters are falling off my hat. So blog in your notes, O-Bill.
Oh, Bill.
All right. Bye, y'all.